Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive today. We are going to be checking out a book called The 4 Habits of Joy-Filled Marriages
Oh, nice.
by Marcus Warner. And this book, it caught my eye because it talks about using both neuroscience and biblical wisdom.
Okay.
And that's a really cool blend to offer practical advice for building a strong and happy marriage.
Yeah, it's an interesting combination. Um, not just about feeling good,
Mm.
but understanding like the biological and spiritual underpinnings
Yeah.
of a good relationship.
So why don't we just dive into the first habit here, which is attunement through active listening.
Right.
So why is this so foundational for a joyful marriage?
Well, I think about it this way. Feeling truly seen and heard by your partner,
Yeah.
it's like emotional oxygen.
Yeah.
It's so essential
Yeah.
to feel connected
Hmm.
and secure in the relationship.
Yeah.
And active listening is the key
Okay.
to cultivating that deep level of understanding.
So how is active listening different from just listening?
It's about being totally present with your partner,
Okay.
um, both like mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
You're not just hearing the words,
Yeah.
but you're actively trying to understand their perspective
Okay.
and the emotions behind what you're saying.
Mm.
It's a more engaged, empathetic way of listening.
So instead of just nodding along and maybe thinking about your to-do list in your head,
Right.
you're fully focused on them and what they're communicating.
Exactly. And, the book breaks it down into a few key techniques.
Okay.
And one of the most important is reflective listening.
Yeah, I've heard of that before. So you're repeating back what you've heard to ensure you understand.
Yeah, but it's more than just parroting the words.
Okay.
It's about reflecting the underlying emotions as well.
Mm.
So like, for example, if your partner says, I had a really frustrating day at work,
Yeah.
you might respond with, wow, that sounds incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. So you're not just acknowledging their words, but validating their feelings.
Right. And this shows them that you're truly listening
Mm-hmm.
and trying to understand their experience.
Yeah.
Another key technique is asking clarifying questions.
So instead of jumping in with solutions or advice, you're asking questions to get a deeper understanding of their perspective.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
for example, you might ask, what was it about the situation that made you feel so frustrated?
Yeah.
Or, is there anything I can do to help you de-stress?
Yeah, I'm already sensing a theme here of going beyond the superficial and really digging deeper.
Totally. And this goes for nonverbal communication as well.
Okay. Right.
Paying attention to your partner's body language
Yeah.
and tone of voice
Yeah.
can give you valuable clues about their emotional state.
So even if they're saying, I'm fine,
Right.
their crossed arms and tense shoulders might be telling a different story.
Exactly. Active listening requires you to be attuned to all forms of communication, not just the spoken word.
Yeah.
And perhaps the most challenging aspect of active listening is avoiding interruptions.
Oh, I know I can struggle with that.
Mm.
It's so tempting to jump in with your own thoughts and your own experiences.
It is, but allowing them to fully express themselves without interrupting shows respect.
Yeah.
It creates that space for them to feel heard. Remember, the goal is to understand,
Right.
not to interject.
This makes me think about how often I might be missing those subtle cues from my partner when I'm not fully present.
Yeah, that's something we can all work on.
Mhm.
The book actually highlights the fascinating connection between active listening and mirror neurons,
Mirror neurons. I've heard of those. Remind me what they do.
these amazing cells that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing that action.
Oh.
So when you're truly engaged in active listening, your mirror neurons are firing as if you're experiencing your partner's emotions yourself.
Wow. So by actively listening, you're not just hearing their story, but creating a neural pathway for empathy and understanding.
Exactly. And that shared experience of emotions through mirror neurons strengthens your bond.
Mm-hmm.
On a deep neurological level, the book shares an example of this couple, Sarah and John.
Okay.
They were struggling to connect, both feeling unheard and misunderstood.
Yeah.
But they started consciously practicing these active listening skills,
Okay.
and their relationship transformed.
Yeah.
They began to feel more seen, more appreciated, and loved.
Wow, that's such a great illustration of how these seemingly simple techniques can have a profound impact. It's not just about changing your behavior, but changing your brain and
Right.
your relationship dynamic.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's just the first step
Yeah,
in building a joy-filled marriage.
it is.
So the next habit focuses on cultivating shared joy.
Yes.
This is where things start to get really exciting.
Yeah.
So let's move on to habit number 2.
Let's do it. So, we've talked about active listening, how that is just so crucial for building that sense of connection and understanding in a marriage. But a truly joy-filled relationship goes beyond simply, just feeling heard.
For sure.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, who wants a marriage that's just about avoiding conflict and, talking things out?
Right, exactly.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, where's the fun? That's where the second habit comes in,
Okay.
cultivating shared joy and positive interactions.
Okay.
It's about, actively creating those moments of happiness and connection.
So we're talking about more than just the occasional date night or vacation, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about weaving joy into the fabric of your everyday lives.
I see.
Remember those shared positive experiences the book talks about?
Mm-hmm.
They're like these tiny deposits into your emotional bank account,
I like that.
building a reserve of happiness that you can draw on during tough times.
That's a great analogy, and it really makes me think about how those small everyday moments of laughter and, connection fun can actually make a big difference in the long run.
Totally. And there's a biological basis for this too.
Oh, really?
When we experience joy with our partner, our brains release oxytocin,
Oh, I've heard of that.
often called the love hormone.
Yeah, it plays a role in bonding and attachment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by engaging in these activities that bring us joy together, we're actually strengthening that bond on like a neurochemical level.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling good in the moment, but it's actually like rewiring our brains for a deeper connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we actually build more of these shared positive experiences into our daily lives?
Yeah.
Because, life gets busy.
It does. And that's where intentionality comes in.
Okay.
The book suggests, scheduling together time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that might sound a bit unromantic,
Yeah.
but it's about making a conscious choice to prioritize joy in your relationship.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be, anything elaborate or over the top. It's just about setting aside that time for those activities you both enjoy.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for 15 minutes a day.
Exactly. It could be cooking dinner together, going
Yeah.
for a walk, playing a board game, cuddling up on the couch, just chatting about your day.
Hmm.
The key is that you're both present
Yeah.
and engaged and enjoying each other's company.
And this makes me think about how important it is to express delight in each other's presence.
Yeah.
Those small gestures of affection and appreciation can really go a long way.
You're so right. Something as simple as greeting each other with a warm smile and a hug when you come home from work can create a ripple effect of positivity.
Yeah. And I love the idea of incorporating more laughter and playfulness into our
Yes.
interactions. Like, life can get so serious sometimes.
Right.
It's important to remember to have fun together.
I agree 100%. What are some activities that bring you and your partner laughter and joy?
Well, we both love trying new restaurants and exploring different cuisines. So we often have these impromptu food adventures
Oh, nice.
on the weekends. It's just a fun way to break out of the routine and just create those shared memories.
That's a fantastic example. It sounds like you've already integrated this habit into your relationship in a very natural way.
Yeah, it is something we've always enjoyed, but it's interesting to think about the science behind it now.
Right.
Knowing that, those shared moments of laughter and enjoyment are actually strengthening our bond, it makes it even more special.
For sure.
So how do we keep that spark alive? Over time, relationships can get comfortable and it's easy to just fall into routines.
That's a great question. One of the most powerful ways to maintain that spark is through shared rituals.
Rituals, like what kind of rituals?
It could be something as simple as having a cup of coffee together every morning
Yeah.
and chatting about your plans for the day. Maybe a weekly date night where you disconnect from technology and truly focus on each other.
Or like a bedtime routine that involves sharing like the highs and lows of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These rituals provide a sense of predictability and stability in a relationship,
Okay.
but they also create those consistent pockets of time where you can connect and recharge together.
And I can definitely see how those rituals would be especially important when life gets hectic. It's like a built-in system for making sure you're making time for each other
Yeah.
amidst all the chaos.
Yeah, amidst all the chaos, but what happens when things aren't so blissful?
Right.
Conflict is inevitable in any marriage, right?
It is.
And that's where the third habit comes into play.
Okay.
Practicing appreciation and gratitude. Now, you might be thinking, how does gratitude help with conflict?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really see the connection.
Yeah.
It seems a bit out of place when you're in the middle of a disagreement.
It might at first, but think about it. When you're focusing on what you appreciate about your partner, it's harder to get bogged down in that negativity and resentment.
So instead of dwelling on their flaws or the things that are annoying you, you're constantly shifting your focus to their positive qualities and the things you're grateful for.
It's a powerful mindset shift that can actually change the way you experience conflict.
Oh, okay.
And like the other habits, there's a neurological basis for this.
Oh, is it?
Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can actually rewire our brains,
Yeah.
making us more positive, resilient, and empathetic.
So gratitude isn't just like this, feel-good emotion. It's actually a powerful tool for building a stronger and more joyful relationship.
Absolutely.
But how do we make gratitude like a regular practice, especially when life gets busy and stressful?
Well, the book suggests several techniques.
Okay.
One of the simplest is daily appreciation.
Okay.
It's about taking a moment each day to express something specific that you appreciate
Okay.
about your partner.
So instead of just a generic thank you,
Right.
you're being more intentional and specific
Exactly.
about what you're grateful for. It's like, I really appreciate that you took the time to listen to me vent about my day, even though you were tired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That specificity makes it much more meaningful and impactful.
Yeah.
And those expressions of appreciation don't have to be these grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest things, like a handwritten note or a text message saying, I'm thinking of you,
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
Yeah. It's those little reminders that you're loved and appreciated can really brighten someone's day.
Totally.
And those positive feelings can definitely spill over into how you handle conflicts.
Absolutely. When you're in a state of gratitude, it's easier to approach disagreements with a sense of understanding and compassion.
Yeah.
It's like you're coming from a place of love rather than anger.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
So we've got active listening, we've got shared joy, and now appreciation
Yes.
as key ingredients for building a joyful marriage.
They're all connected.
But what about those times when conflict is unavoidable?
Yeah.
Because even the happiest couples disagree sometimes, right?
That's right. And that brings us to the fourth and final habit, which is where things get really interesting.
Okay, so we've talked about active listening, cultivating shared joy, practicing appreciation, all fantastic habits for a joyful marriage. But even in the most loving relationships, disagreements are going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just part of being human.
That's right.
Right?
And trying to avoid conflict can actually be more harmful than helpful.
Okay, so it sounds like it really is about how you approach those disagreements.
Exactly.
So this fourth habit, navigating conflict with love and respect,
Yes.
this is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, I think you could say that, think of it this way. Conflict isn't a sign that something's wrong in your relationship.
Okay.
It's more like an opportunity for growth
Okay.
and deeper understanding.
I like that reframing.
Yeah.
But how do we actually shift our mindset from seeing conflict as a threat
Right.
to an opportunity to strengthen our bond?
It starts with remembering that you and your partner are on the same team.
Okay.
You're not like adversaries in a battle.
Yeah.
You're two individuals with different perspectives, trying to find a solution that works for both of you.
Yeah, that's such a crucial reminder because it's so easy to get caught up in, being right and forgetting that the goal is to find a resolution that benefits the relationship as a whole.
Exactly, and that requires a willingness to truly listen and understand your partner's viewpoint, even if you don't agree with it.
Right?
Remember those active listening skills we talked about? They become even more crucial during conflict.
So instead of, interrupting or getting defensive or trying to win the argument, we need to focus on creating a safe space for open and honest communication.
Precisely. And that often means, managing our own emotional reactions.
Right.
The book talks about the importance of emotional calm during disagreements.
Oh, I can see how that's easier said than done when emotions run high.
It is.
It's hard to stay composed
It is.
and rational.
Yeah, it's a skill that takes practice.
Yeah.
The book suggests using techniques like deep breathing mindfulness,
Okay.
or even taking a time out to cool down if things get too heated.
Yeah, those timeouts are so important. To
Yeah.
just hit the pause button and regroup.
Yeah, give yourselves that space
Yeah.
to process your emotions and approach this situation more constructively.
Not avoiding the issue, just giving ourselves the space to think about it.
Exactly. And when you do come back to the conversation, Focus on using I statements instead of you statements.
Right, like, I feel hurt when this happens.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of you always do this.
Yeah, it's much less accusatory,
Mm.
and it helps to keep the focus on feelings and needs rather than blame.
So it's about finding that resolution that honors both of your needs
Exactly.
and perspectives.
And throughout this process, it's so important to remember that love and respect
Yeah.
should always be the foundation
Right.
of your interactions.
Yeah, it's so easy to let those, negative emotions take over
It is.
and forget that you're talking to someone that you love and cherish.
Right? It's crucial to treat each other with kindness and consideration,
Yeah.
even in those heated moments. After
Yeah.
all, the goal is to resolve the conflict and strengthen your bond, not to inflict those emotional wounds.
This has been such an insightful conversation. We've covered so much ground today, exploring these 4 habits for building a joyful marriage, active listening,
Yeah.
cultivating shared joy, practicing appreciation, and navigating conflict with love and respect.
Those are the 4.
Yeah. Any final words of wisdom?
I would say just remember that building a joy-filled marriage is an ongoing process. It's not a destination.
Yeah.
It's a journey of growth, discovery, and deepening connection.
It's like tending a garden. It requires consistent effort and nurturing and attention.
And there will be seasons of growth and seasons of challenge. But through it all, remember that the love and commitment you share is really that fertile ground from which joy can flourish.
What a beautiful way to put it. So, as our listeners head back into their daily lives, what's one small step they can take today to start cultivating more joy in their marriage?
I would say start with appreciation.
Okay.
Take a moment today to express genuine gratitude to your partner. Notice something they do, big or small,
Yeah.
and acknowledge it with heartfelt appreciation.
Like, thank you for making coffee this morning?
Exactly. Or, I really appreciate you taking out the trash.
Yeah.
It can be that simple, but those small gestures can create a ripple effect of positivity in your relationship.
It's that gentle reminder that even amidst life's busyness and challenges, there's always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. And as you continue to cultivate these habits of joy, remember to celebrate your successes along the way. Acknowledge the progress you're making as a couple,
Yeah.
and give yourselves credit for the effort you're putting in.
It's so important to focus on the positive and recognize those small wins that lead to a more joyful and fulfilling relationship.
Well said. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are countless resources available to support you, whether it's couples therapy workshops or even just connecting with other couples who are committed to building strong and joyful marriages.
Thank you so much for joining us today for this deep dive
Yes, it's been a pleasure.
into the 4 habits of joy-filled marriages. We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic, so stay tuned. We're talking